Mosab Hassan Yousef. He is the brother who I debated. And I broke this down a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to go through the whole story again, but he keeps producing media that misrepresents things that I think are very important. For those who don't know, the son of Hamas is the nickname that was given to Mosab Hassan Yousef. Mosab is a Palestinian, even though he doesn't like to identify as Palestinian. His father was one of the founding members of Hamas, allegedly. And after his teenage years, he fled Palestine, converted to Christianity, denounced the Palestinian movement altogether, not just Hamas, but the Palestinian movement altogether, and has become a pro-Israeli spokesperson. In fact, he's been a member of, allegedly, of Shin Bet, Shin Bet is like the internal security apparatus of the Israeli government. It's like the FBI as opposed to like the CIA. Like Shin Bet, you got the Shin Bet, and then you got the Mossad. He's part of Shin Bet, the domestic kind of security apparatus of the Israeli government. He's not allowed back in Palestine. Well, I won't say he's not allowed back in Palestine. He doesn't want to return back to Palestine. He lives in the United States. He has citizenship here, and he travels the country proselytizing for Israel. He is a character in lots of ways. Interesting guy. We had an interesting, healthy conversation when I spoke to him offset. But like a lot of these people, when we went into that room and debated at Berkeley a couple weeks ago, he does a thing. His debate style is to focus more on the emotion and the, I was there, my story, rather than actual evidence and data and facts. I don't think the debate was close, but he does, and that's fine. But he went on Jordan Peterson's show recently and described what happened. And he described our debate in a way that I found very frustrating. I found it very frustrating. So I want to share what he said so that there's no speculation. You have to guess. Here's what he said.
Just 2 days ago, we had a debate. I had to pay somebody $20,000 from my pocket to debate me on the topic because no one else agreed to.
Where was that
debate? Berkeley University. And that's one of the most respectful educational institutions that they cannot even host a debate on their own. A debater had to pay from his own pocket to bring his opponent to have a discussion. And the funny thing that this guy acts like a giant outside of the debate. Like when you see him, Al Jazeera is Al Jazeera host and was a CNN anchor. Delivered a speech to the United Nations and called from a United Nations podium from the river to the sea. But when he came to the debate, he agreed with 90% of the things that I was saying. I was like, then who are you? That you're outside, just this outrageous anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, pro-Palestine, and all of a sudden here, you're just chickened out.
I heard that, and here's how I heard it, because I'll be minding my own business. I was on Twitter. I had posted the debate, and all of a sudden there was like dozens, and I don't mean like one or two. I mean literally dozens of posts saying Marc Lamont Hill received $20,000 for this debate. He's a grifter, and stuff like that, or stuff like Jordan had to pay you out of his own pocket to debate. How dare you? And it's like, if you put something in somebody's head and you frame it in a certain way, people who aren't that bright will follow it without critical thinking. So there's a few things here that there are a few things here that are untrue. First, he didn't pay me out of his own pocket, and he damn sure didn't pay me $20,000. So both of those things are just untrue. I was paid by Chabad. Chabad is the Berkeley Jewish, one of the Berkeley campus Jewish organizations. Second, what happened was initially they weren't having a debate. He was coming to just proselytize. In fact, when I looked at the ads for the event, my name wasn't even on it. It just said the son of Hamas shows up. They like to say the son of Hamas because it sounds really like scary and dark and grim and like, you know, it's just fascinating, right? The language they use. But they said the son of Hamas speaks. That was the event. My name had nothing to do with it. Remember, the event was on a Thursday. They called me Sunday right around midnight. Right around midnight, maybe. And say, hey, can you come on Thursday? Again, very short notice. And yeah, I said I need to be paid for this. And so they offered me a very small amount. Actually, they offered me no money. And then they went from zero to like a tiny amount of money. And I said, look, I'll do it on Zoom for free. If not for free, a very small amount, but like I'm not flying all the way to California. I have something to do. I have a doctor's appointment for my kid. I got other stuff to do. I got life shit. I can't just turn around. Anyway, after all the back and forth, they kept offering me lower and low. I mean, not lower and low. They offered me low amounts. Even though they were going up, they were still very low. So finally I said, pay me what you pay him. If you pay me what you're paying him, I'll consider coming out. And then they still offered me a low number. So I said, never mind, I'm not going to do it. And then the next day they call me again. This is a Tuesday. And they're like, look, if we pay you X, will you do it? It was not $20,000 though. I said, yes, I'll do it. So I flew out, did the event. So he didn't pay me out of his pocket. What likely happened was, and this happens with any event, if they were going to pay him and then he says, I want to debate. I want to bring on Marc Lamont Hill to debate me. I want to share the time. I don't just want to talk to the audience. I want to split. Then sure. I got to get paid too. So why would I fly to California for free and let him take all the money? So if we split the amount and we're both doing the event, and my name is as big as his, people know me as much as they know him, if not more, like, why wouldn't I be paid? But he framed it and I paid him out of my pocket as if he were doing some altruistic act, as if he were just showing up to debate and he just said, I just need to debate Marc Hill to fight the good fight. And you know what? I'm going to reach in my pocket and give him $20,000 to do it. Like, that's not what happened. Again, he didn't pay me. No one gave me $20,000. But on top of that, yes, I spoke at an event, but because they put it in people's head that speaking at an event, that somehow me being paid to debate is somehow a problem, that me being paid to do an event, like, people get paid to speak all the time. So I don't even get the idea here. But there's another point, right? Maybe a bigger point, right? Which is he says, I agreed with 90% of what he said. All right. All y'all got to do is watch a debate for yourselves. The debate is on the website. It's on the channel. Marc Lamont Hill and Mosab, Hassan, Yousef have an epic debate, I think is the title. That's the conversation. You can see, clearly we didn't agree 90% of the time. But what did happen, and again, I don't know if his cognitive processes work fully. What actually happened is he would make an argument. And I would say, that's a straw man. You're making an argument that I'm not making. I don't disagree with the point you just made. I'll give you an example. He'll say Palestine was never a country. And I'll say, I agree. But the idea of the nation state, the idea of the country is relatively new. So the legitimacy of Palestine doesn't hinge upon whether or not it was a country 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Lots of things weren't countries. Right now, there's about 195 nations that are recognized by the United Nations, like 195-ish, about 195. There are tens of thousands of nations in the country. The Kurds are a nation. Yazidis are a nation. And they're not less of a nation because they don't have a country attached to them. Palestine is a nation. And so we're debating that point. So yeah, I don't disagree that Palestine's not a country. So when he responds and goes, yes, but show me a time when Palestine was a country. And I'm like, I don't disagree. I've never said Palestine was a country, right? Or he'll go, Jews have always been in this land, right? Jews have been in this land before 1948. And I'll go, well, yeah. No one is arguing that Jews all showed up in 1948 or, you know, at the end of the 19th century. Of course, there's been a Jewish presence there. There was a Jewish presence before the Holocaust. There's a Jewish presence, you know, before the first Aliyah. There was a Jewish presence, you know, for a long time. Now, they were Palestinian Jews, they were Arab Jews, many of them who were in the region, but I don't disagree that there's Jewish presence. So he goes, aha, you agree with me? It's like, yeah, I never didn't say that. So again, these are straw men. You're just beating up on a point that no one is making. So when he stands up there afterward and says, "Oh, he's so big and tough," and then he shows it to me and he agrees with 90%, as if like as he said, I chickened out. I mean, this masculinist, you know, tough guy language is stupid. Like the truth is, there was nothing to chicken out about. He made arguments. I challenged his arguments. I made arguments. He disagreed with my arguments. Challenged mine. The audience, you can see who won. Just watch the debate. But it's just fascinating that he felt the need to go around telling the people that somehow I did something, or he had to pay me to show up. Of course, you had to pay me to show up. Can you imagine a boxer saying, you know, and my opponent, I had to, you know, I had to split the purse with him for him to show up to fight me. Yeah, that's how fights work. Someone's paying us, and we each get paid. Now, 95% of the speeches I give are not for money. 99% of the speeches I give for Palestine are not for money. I don't need to pay to speak. But yeah, if the son of Hamas calls me and says, "Hey, do you want to debate me on 72 hours notice in the other side of the country?" and I'm being paid, will you come? And we'll say, "Yeah, well, I want to be paid too. I'm not gonna let you keep all the money. It's silly." But the way people frame these arguments is important. And then I noticed suddenly my page was being flooded with comments. Everybody's saying, "Oh my God, Mark got destroyed. Oh my God, Mark." I don't care about this stuff. But just understand that these are bots. And part of how movements work is they hire bots, or they create bots to infiltrate social media platforms to communicate a message so often that it becomes true almost by, just by repetition. Just something to think about. C Shot said for the Mark the Giant fun. Yes, he said, I pretended to be a giant. I guess I got around him and just shrunk.